Hi, this is Anne Walsh and you're very welcome to this first lesson in our Get Good at Excel.com program, the program that will bring you from Excel 0 to Excel Hero or Heroine. Now, what I want to start with today is just to show you how to create some very basic formulas. Now, the idea is quite simple. The idea will be that I assume at some level you already know the basics of how to create files and save files and so on. Right. So what I'm assuming here, but on the other hand, this is the first time you've seen Excel. Now, when the first time we open up Excel, right, you'll see that over here I have A, B, C, D, E, and because I'm using Excel 2010, we've got well over 16,000 columns, A, B, C, and see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all called rows, and there's well over 1 million of those. Okay, so as you see, we have loads and loads and loads of space, so space won't be an issue for us. Okay. Now, what I want to just start with is just talk a little bit about kind of cells, because we're going to be entering information into cells. Now, for example, at the moment I've clicked on A1. All right, you can see there the colour has changed, gone to A, gone to 1. Now I've clicked on C3, it's now C3, and B5. Right. Now each of these cells has a unique address, right, basically made up of a column reference and a row reference. And each of them is called a cell. Each of these blocks is called a cell. Now, you can also have a feature called arrange, which we'll be touching on later. But at the moment, all I want you to kind of realise, okay, that these are just called cells. Right? So the first thing I'm going to do is just enter some basic information in here. So I just type in item, and I want to add a couple of more headings. So I press the tab key. Now, the tab key is the key just above your caps lock on your keyboard, just above the left. It's the one with the two arrows pointing opposite to each other. So I press that, and I just go price, and I go tax. And then I'm just going to add in my items, right? And again, I'm going to use the down arrow key just to move down to each cell. If you notice here, I just have one item per cell. Right. Now I come back here then to my price, right? And I'm not going to use the keyboard for this. I'm just going to click with the mouse because it's just a little bit quicker. And I'm just going to type in a price for each of these. Right. Now don't worry about adding your local currency symbol or anything like that at that point. That's something we'll be covering later on. Right. And go to 20, go to 40. Right. Now I'm just going to enter my tax here again. And again, we're just going to enter an amount. So I'm just going to put in 10. And just, it's the amount 10, using my arrows to move down. And as you can see here, there's no rhyme or reason to the tax regime in this particular place. So just go back here to total. And here's where we come to kind of the key part of the lesson. What I want you to show you here is I want to enter what's called a formula or a calculation that's going to add up the price and tax, first of all for apples, and then I'm just going to copy it down. So the way I start is that I click where I want the answer to go, which in here, and if you notice it should always be a blank cell, and then I go equals this, and then I just put in plus. Alright. And if you're using kind of a full-scale keyboard, that'll be on the number pad on the right hand side, and if possible try and get used to using that. And then I click on tax. Right. And if you notice here, what comes up in the cell is B3 plus C3. Okay. And if you notice here, I didn't actually type in 12.5 plus 10, and there's a reason for that. I want to kind of use cell references as much as possible. Now when I've finished, I just press the enter key. Right. And the next step then is I just want to copy this formula down. I don't want to have to enter this formula again, so I just click here to copy it down. I bring my mouse over to the bottom right hand side. You see there's a little a tiny little kind of box there. That's called the fill handle. And when I rest my mouse and it changes to a black cross, I hold down my left mouse button, and then I just kind of drag it down like so. Alright, and if you see here, it's now filled in the numbers. Now if I click here, right, click here, you'll also see that it's now saying up in this part up here, B4 plus C4. So what Excel has done very cleverly is that it's kind of looked at the first one, and what it does is that the cell reference or the cell references in the formula actually change as I copy it down, right? So that it just gets, so no matter how far I copy it down, it will always add up the correct two numbers, or in this case the two numbers just to the left of it as they are over here. Now I just want to show you one more thing, alright, and again this will show you again the power of using kind of cell references as opposed to typing them in. If I say, oh actually I'm very wrong about the tax for apples, it's actually only 5, all I need to do now is click back here, press 5, press enter, and if you notice here the number will change automatically. Alright, the number will change automatically. So as far as possible, a very good practice to get into with Excel from the word go is A, make sure you use cell references as much as possible, and get in the habit of getting the first one right and then copying it down. Now as part of this module, the Get Good at Excel, you will also have kind of practice files for you to practice on. We can actually kind of practice on using plus and so on. So again, I hope you've enjoyed this first lesson, and I look forward to meeting you again on the second lesson, in which we're going to kind of look at using minus.